Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes Singapore corruption probe, Cathay's mainland China hires, SCMP 7 highlights. Hong Kong star Camarg wants thrilling Asian Cup displays to alert foreign clubs. New World, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority are seeking to refinance $1.2 billion hotel loan. Hong Kong stocks jump, trimming third weekly loss, as AIA, SMIC lead rebound. Palestine claim UAE draw, gain Asian Cup qualifying advantage over Hong Kong. Singapore corruption probe, Cathay's mainland China hires, SCMP 7 highlights. South China Morning Post. Foreigners who stayed in China during the COVID-19 lockdowns are now leaving the country. Many have cited reasons such as the difficulty of obtaining visas, increased scrutiny and restrictions on foreigners, and a desire to be closer to family and support networks as reasons for their departure. The strict COVID controls in China lasted for 3 years, and despite efforts to reopen to the outside world, many foreigners decided that it was time to leave. Hong Kong star Camarg wants thrilling Asian Cup displays to alert foreign clubs. South China Morning Post. Everton Camarg, a Brazil-born footballer playing for Hong Kong's national team, hopes to attract the attention of scouts from abroad with his performances at the Asian Cup in Qatar. Camarg, who was called Hong Kong's best footballer by his coach, has 2 years left on his contract with Hong Kong Premier League side Liman but has been talking to a new agent. He moved to Hong Kong in 2015 and obtained his passport in August, and is now aiming to help Hong Kong compete with any team. New World, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority are seeking to refinance $1.2 billion hotel loan. Bloomberg. New World Development and Abu Dhabi's Sovereign Wealth Fund are reportedly planning to refinance a $9.25 billion Hong Kong dollars, $1.2 billion, syndicated loan related to the acquisition of 3 luxury hotels in Hong Kong. The new facility is expected to be similar in size to the 2015 loan that was refinanced by the two firms in 2018. The loan is currently due in June 2023. New World Development has been affected by Hong Kong's property sector slump. Hong Kong stocks jump, trimming third weekly loss, as AIA, SMIC lead rebound. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong stocks have rebounded for a second day following a slump earlier this week that pushed the market to its lowest level in 14 months. The Hang Seng Index climbed 0.6% on Friday, adding to a 0.8% gain from the previous day. The tech index rose 0.3%, while the Shanghai Composite Index slipped 0.3%. Palestine claim UAE draw, gain Asian Cup qualifying advantage over Hong Kong. South China Morning Post. Palestine drew 1-1 with the United Arab Emirates, UAE, in their Asian Cup group game. Palestine had a man advantage for 51 minutes after a red card for UAE defender Khalifa Mubarak. Despite being winless in their previous 9 matches, Palestine were slick, courageous and ambitious. Palestine's next opponents, Hong Kong, will have to overcome a crowd fervently in their opponent's corner. Hit TV drama Blossoms Shanghai shows how culture could get China spending again. South China Morning Post. The hit Chinese drama series Blossoms Shanghai, directed by Wong Kar-wai, has sparked a surge in interest in domestic culture and products, driving consumption in China. The series, set in 1990s Shanghai, features landmarks, traditional cuisine and clothing from the era, and fans of the show have been flocking to these locations to indulge in the nostalgia. Observers suggest that this shift towards domestic spending is a response to weakened external demand, subdued investor confidence, and a struggling property sector. Furthermore, consumers are becoming more mature and are looking to support local brands. China's economy is increasingly reliant on domestic spending to generate growth and sustain consumption. In 2023, consumer spending accounted for over 80% of China's GDP growth. However, experts argue that in order to sustain this rise in consumption, China needs to tap into the spending potential nationwide to meet the diversified demands of consumers, particularly for big-ticket items such as home appliances and automobiles. Can Red Sea attacks speed up Southeast Asia's clean energy transition? South China Morning Post. Southeast Asia's heavy reliance on fossil fuels and outdated power grids is hindering the region's progress towards renewable energy. While countries such as Thailand, Vietnam, and Singapore are making strides in renewable capacity, they are facing challenges in absorbing and distributing clean energy due to the fluctuating nature of wind and solar power generation. Smart grid systems with backup storage are needed to ensure efficient distribution of renewable energy. The region's financial hubs, Hong Kong and Singapore, can play a crucial role in developing clearly defined standards for financing clean energy projects. Asian equities advance as TSMC rally lifts mood, markets wrap. Yahoo! Asian semiconductor stocks rose as Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company announced its outlook, which boosted hopes for a global recovery in the sector. Japan, South Korea, and Australia all experienced a rise in benchmark indexes, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq 100 index rose to an all-time high. TSMC, a key supplier of chips to Apple and Nvidia, saw a significant boost in its earnings, which spurred on the biggest rally in chip makers for over a month on Thursday. Asian shares bounce on global tech rally, yen loser of the week. Yahoo! Asian shares have bounced back after a rally in regional chipmakers. Oil prices are also on edge due to increasing geopolitical risks in the Middle East. The U.S. launched further strikes against Houthi anti-ship missiles on Thursday, and Pakistan conducted strikes inside Iran, 2 days after Iranian strikes inside Pakistani territory. Anderson vows Hong Kong will fight for 90 minutes in Asian Cup clash with Iran. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's national football team head coach, Jorn Anderson, has promised that his team will be significantly different from the one that lost 4-0 to Iran in November, saying they are equipped for whatever opponents ranked 21st in the world throw at them. Iran's head coach, Amir Galeoni, however, plans to make 3 or 4 changes from the first-choice 11, with Hong Kong hoping this will give them a small chance. Despite this, Galeoni said he was not underestimating Hong Kong and expected a very difficult match. China swap market goes into overdrive as traders seek FX bypass. Bloomberg. Trading in China's onshore swaps market has hit a 9-year high, driven by strong demand for the US dollar, low interest rates on the yuan, and the ability to manage currency positions. Swaps now account for around 10% of currency trading, compared with 75% for spot trading. Investors are attracted to the lower funding costs in Chinese currency, which is making it profitable to borrow yuan with dollars. Swaps also offer a cheaper way for investors to bet on currency movements without giving up core positions. Chinese stocks listed in Shanghai, Hong Kong have never been cheaper. Here's why. South China Morning Post. Chinese stocks listed in Shanghai are currently at an all-time low, with investors only willing to pay 1.2 times the book values of companies listed in China's financial and commerce hub, according to Bloomberg data. The Shanghai Composite Index has declined this year, following losses in 2022 and 2023, erasing over 5 trillion Chinese yuan, $779 billion, in capitalization during this time. Global funds have cut their allocations in Chinese stocks to the lowest net underweight in over a year due to chronic disappointment, according to Bank of America. Thai artist weaves the personal with the political. Nikkei Asia. Jacky Siributter, a Bangkok-based artist, creates artworks that explore themes such as politics, history, and personal experiences. His works often incorporate textiles and craft methods, which he believes have been overlooked and undervalued in the art world. Siributter's latest exhibition, Matrilineal, features large billowing forms made from the clothing of his deceased mother and other female relatives. The artworks are accompanied by a soundtrack read from the diaries of the deceased, which blend references to everyday life with observations on violent episodes in Thai history. Through his art, Sirabhadra aims to pay tribute to the women who have shaped him and to keep their memories and the history of Thailand alive. He believes that textile-based art has gained recognition in recent years and hopes to see more artists working with this medium. Sirabhadra's works often evoke an emotional response and engage audiences on a personal level, encouraging them to consider the effective qualities of his materials. Greedflation was good for profits, until it wasn't. Bloomberg. Home Depot's recent earnings report reveals that the decline in transactions is falling, but average transaction size is also decreasing. This is likely due to the fading of inflation, which is causing a profit pinch for the company. This phenomenon is also being observed in other corporations, leading to job cuts and a stagnant labor market. Despite the successful economic soft landing, there are still concerns about the future. In contrast, several quantitative trading firms in northern Denmark have experienced windfall profits by pending European electricity markets. These firms have taken advantage of the changing dynamics in the market and have generated massive earnings. Meanwhile, Republican presidential hopeful Nikki Haley is struggling to navigate her party's racial identity politics. Her attempts to appeal to a base that sees whiteness as a politically important identity are futile, as former President Donald Trump already has the white grievance vote. The Supreme Court is considering overturning the Chevron doctrine, which would have significant implications for federal agency interpretation of statutes. Finally, the U.S. air traffic control system is facing a staffing shortage and outdated facilities. Transferring the management of the system to a nonprofit or government corporation could provide a solution. And that's a wrap for today's highlights. We've covered a range of topics, from foreigners leaving China to Hong Kong's football aspirations, and even a hit TV drama that's boosting domestic consumption in China. Now, let's dive into some analysis. First, the departure of foreigners from China is not surprising given the challenges they faced during the pandemic, such as visa issues and increased scrutiny. It's understandable that many would want to be closer to family and support networks. This could have implications for China's efforts to attract foreign talent and investment. Next, we have Hong Kong footballer Everton Camarg looking to make a name for himself at the Asian Cup. It's always exciting to see players from smaller teams shine on the big stage, and Camarg's performances could open doors for him to play abroad. Let's hope he gets the attention he deserves. Moving on, we see New World Development and Abu Dhabi Investment Authority seeking to refinance a hefty hotel loan. This reflects the challenges faced by Hong Kong's property sector, which has been in a slump. It will be interesting to see how these companies navigate the current market conditions. In the stock market, Hong Kong stocks have rebounded after a slump earlier this week. This is good news for investors who may have been worried about the market's downward trend. It will be worth keeping an eye on how these stocks perform in the coming weeks. On the football front, Palestine drew with the United Arab Emirates in their Asian Cup group game. Despite being winless in their previous matches, Palestine put up a strong performance. This sets the stage for an exciting match between Palestine and Hong Kong, who will have to overcome a fervent crowd in their opponent's corner. Now, let's talk about the hit TV drama Blossoms Shanghai and its impact on domestic consumption in China. The show's nostalgic theme seems to have struck a chord with viewers, leading to increased interest in domestic culture and products. This shift towards domestic spending could be a response to weakened external demand and a struggling property sector. It will be interesting to see how this trend develops and whether it can sustain China's economic growth. In Southeast Asia, the transition to renewable energy is hindered by outdated power grids and the fluctuating nature of wind and solar power generation. Hong Kong and Singapore, as financial hubs, could play a crucial role in developing standards for financing clean energy projects. This could help accelerate the region's clean energy transition. Lastly, we have seen a rally in Asian semiconductor stocks, driven by positive outlooks from key players like Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. This is a positive sign for the global tech sector and could indicate a broader recovery. It's always great to see positive news in the market. That's all for today's highlights and analysis. I hope you found them informative and entertaining. Now, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on these news stories? Do you have any questions or insights to share? Let's keep the discussion going. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.